Okay, let's work on the practice from 14.3, classwork page 618 to 619, 7 and 19, the odds. Here's your reminder: a proportion is an equation stating two ratios are equal. So let's start with number 7. Okay, so the directions for 7 say write a proportion to find how many points a student needs to score on the test to get the given score. So if we look at what's given for number 7, it says test worth 150 points, test score is 96%. So what we're dealing with here are part to whole ratios. We always want to write these guiding words to help us figure out where the information goes, okay? So remember, percents are part to whole ratios, always out of 100. So 96 over 100 is our first ratio. The test is worth 150 points. So that's the total amount. And we don't know how many points you have to earn to get that given amount or that given percent. So here is your proportion. You can absolutely flip-flop these two ratios and it's still right. You can reduce 96 over 100 and it's still right. But this here is our proportion, okay? Number 9. Directions for 9 say use the table to write a proportion. So whenever we write a proportion, we want to start with guiding words. The numbers are relating to winners out of entries, okay? So in May, we don't know how many winners there were, but we know there were 85 entries. In June, there were 34 winners and 170 entries. And a proportion means that these two ratios are equal, okay? So here is your proportion. You can use any variable that you want. Okay, 11, same idea. Let's start with our guiding words. Meters is being compared to seconds in this case. Race 1 was 100 meters. We don't know how many seconds that took. Race 2 was 200 meters, and that took 22.4 seconds. And a proportion states that these are equal, okay? Now, you might see it written with the words right there in the proportion, like this. So 100 meters is to X seconds, as 200 meters is to 22.4 seconds. So both of these will work, okay? But you have to be able to recognize that this is a proportion as well, even though the units are included in it. You might see it this way on an end of course exam or a state test. You're not state testing this year, but you get the idea, okay? Number 13. Okay, 13. Again, we're just writing a proportion. It says you can buy 3 t-shirts for $24. Write a proportion that gives the cost of buying C t-shirts for oh, I read that wrong. We don't know the cost. We don't know the cost, but we know it's for 7 t-shirts, okay? So here's our proportion with the words built right into it, okay? You might see it with the ratios flipped. So with 24 on top, 3 on the bottom, which means C would go on top and 7 would go on the bottom. That means the same thing. If we solve, we're still gonna get the same answer, okay? As long as you're consistent with what you put on the top and what you put on the bottom. Okay, so let's read through number 15. The school team, let me try to read that. The school team has 80 swimmers. the ratio of 7th grade swimmers to all the swimmers, so let me get those words down. 7th grade swimmers to all the students is 5 to 16. Okay. It says write a proportion that gives the number of S 7th grade swimmers. So we don't know here, 7th grade is on top. We don't know the number of 7th grade swimmers, but it did tell us the school team has a total of 80. Proportion means that those two ratios are equal. Okay? Number 17. 17, now we're solving. Nothing really too fancy about these proportions that we're solving. We just need to figure out the value for y. And I think in this case, the easiest way to do it is just to think of these as finding that equivalent ratio. We did this in a ratio table earlier in the year. We get to 3 to 12 by multiplying by 4. So do the same thing to the denominator. 4 times 4 is 16. So y has a value of 16. Okay? All right, number 19. Same idea, 15 is to 8 as 45 is to C. Okay, they gave another nice easy proportion here because the numbers fit nicely into one another. We're trying to get the value for C, so let's use equivalent ratios. 15 times 3 makes 45. Do the same thing to the denominator. 8 times 3 is 24, so the value for C is 24. Okay, that's it.